Hello YouTube, this is another time traveler film, and we're going to look at what's going on in the world, well in the UK that is, in 2019. And we've got a growing epidemic of cars being stolen in the UK. There's a few reasons for this, and one of them is the reduction in police stations, about 600 of them in the last 8 years, because obviously after the banking crisis of 2008 we borrowed tons of money to save the banking system. That's another story. And they've had austerity cuts, so we've had to cut back on police and firemen and all this stuff. And the other thing is we've got very lenient sentencing, so there's no deterrent for stealing a car or doing robberies. And the other thing is the car manufacturers, they've made cars very easy to steal because they've used keyless technology. So what you do is you normally park your car in your driveway or outside your house, and you leave your keys by the windowsill. And what the thieves do is they get a box which magnifies the signal, and that unlocks the car. Then once they get in the car, they can just rip out the ignition barrel, and then they can just hotwire the car and they can start the car without making any noise. The other thing they can do is snap locking. So if you've got a UPVC door and it's older than maybe 3 years, you've probably got a very basic cylinder lock in there, and they just get a pair of pliers or mole grips and they just take the lock off, and then they can open the door in less than 15 seconds, and they can take your car keys and just take your cars. And that's been happening all around the country, and it's getting worse. And we're at, I think, new 6 or 8 year highs on this sort of trend. It's not just the UK, so don't blame it on Brexit. It's also happening in the US. So they say put your car keys in the Faraday cage. Don't go to dodgy car washes or dodgy garages where they copy your keys. The other thing they do is they use a fishing rod and they stick that through your letterbox and they fish the keys that way. So we're going to look at the Stolen Cars UK Facebook group, and it's been getting really busy lately. There's at least 10 cars stolen each day, and we're just going to have a quick look and see if we can learn anything from it. That's the thing, what we're doing. So this one was posted 3 hours ago. Someone's had their Nissan stolen. They're wearing black balaclavas. What was this one? So someone's found a Range Rover Sport abandoned somewhere. So these are quite popular. The top cars stolen are the Range Rovers, the Audis and Fords, because they've got keyless technology basically, and they're easy to sell on. They're quite desirable cars. So this one's got another Range Rover stolen 4 hours ago. And I'll just see if there's anything interesting. Someone's posted this as a joke. It's like a trolley lock to lock the gear stick. I think there's going to be a big comeback in what's called dumb locks, because things like disc locks and steering wheel locks and pedal locks and handbrake locks, because that's something that keyless technology hasn't replaced. People still need to use a hacksaw to hack through these sort of things, so it just buys you a bit of time if you need to call the police, or just makes the robbers look somewhere else. I think also people are relying basically on basic immobilizers and alarms that come with the cars. So they say, I paid this much amount of money, I expect a good security. But the thing is, the manufacturers are going to put the same alarm and immobilizer on every car in that model range, and the crooks know exactly how to disable them. They know exactly where the GPS trackers are. They say the thieves today don't carry crowbars, they carry laptops. They're really smart now, so they know what they're doing to steal your cars. I think nearly 50,000 cars are being stolen each year now. So the peak was in 1990. I think it was like 500,000 cars stolen each year. And we've had decades of low crime, so everyone's really complacent, and they're not worried about it until it happens to them. And every day people were posting that their cars have been stolen, and they just wasn't aware of the problem. So yeah, here's an Audi being stolen. These are quite common. I see one of these on this Facebook group stolen each day. I'll just see if there's anything interesting. VWs, they're quite popular. So this is another one stolen from their driveway. So if you break down into the comments, you might be able to see how they got in. So blah 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 blah. Sometimes they give away how they got in. Sometimes they just break through the window, to be honest. Alright, we'll keep going. BMWs, they're quite popular for thieves. They're basically taken to these called chop shops, and they just break them down, ship them out in containers into Europe. So the turnaround's really quick. So you know, these people are making millions of pounds a year by shifting these. So you know, even if they get caught, they may not even go to prison, and they're back out on the street doing this stuff again. They've basically come in and steal these while you're asleep. So between midnight and 6 a.m, that is when people are stealing cars. No one's out on the street, it's all dark, and you know, the council have had to reduce street lighting, so that also helps the thieves. Mercedes, unbelievably, you'd think Mercedes would be hard to steal, but with keyless technology, they're dead easy to steal. So this was stolen on Tuesday early morning. Doesn't say how it was stolen. Got another BMW. Someone broke into his house and took his car. So you know, while you're asleep, they just break in, they look around, they know where the keys are. They're going to be on the windowsill, by your telly. Pretty obvious places. They carry head torches as well, so they're looking around in the dark while you're asleep. So if you don't have a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull Terrier, or you know, an Alsatian or a Staffordshire Terrier, you're not going to get woken up, and they'll just go and take your car while you're asleep. Yeah, so that might have been through snap locking or breaking in through a window. Definitely check your back door locks. You know, make sure they're upgraded to a newer Euro cylinder, which has snap lock in place. And also you can fit anti-shatter film on your window, security film, so it's quite easy to put that film onto the window, so if they try and break the window, it doesn't shatter, and they can just walk through it. It takes a lot of hits and a lot of noise to get through. We've got a Seat Leon stolen at 7:30 p.m. here. Anything interesting there? USB port, that reminds me, they're also using the OBD port, which is like a diagnostic port in the car, I think, and they just plug in their computer into that port, and they can start the engine. So that's pretty clever too. Got another Land Rover, BMW 4 hours ago. I mean, this is like nearly 10 cars I've shown you in the last 24 hours. It's incredible. So this one was stolen early this morning. We are devastated. So don't let this happen to you. I mean, if you come away from this video and do something or learn something new, then you're one step closer to protecting yourself. Start your journey in protecting yourself, because you know, 600 police stations have been closed in the last 10 years, and it's going to take another 10 years to rebuild back up all the police force. You can't train a police officer in 24 hours. You can't reopen a police station in the next year or so. It takes a long time. I know there are people in the Midlands that are doing like a WhatsApp group, and they're patrolling the streets, and they have like a radio, so they talk to other members of the group. So they're just like out on patrol on each evening to keep an eye out for thieves. So that's really good. We've got another Audi. So these are very desirable cars. Yeah, they look good. They're powerful. They're easy to sell. Someone's going to buy that. No questions asked, no problem. The parts are worth a lot of money as well. Let's have a look at this. They think it's keyless theft. So again, someone goes up, they look at the suburbs, people with nice German cars on the driveway, not been victims of crime before. They go up to the house, they put a device that magnifies the key fob signal. The key fob opens the car door and even turns on the ignition in some cases, and people just drive off in less than 60 seconds. If you got finance on this one for £30,000 or you're leasing it, then the insurance won't pay out for everything, so people are going to lose out on this. So we've got another Audi, white one here, gone for 3 days. The plates have likely been changed. Blah blah blah. House was broken into, so probably lock snapping. So someone's asked, has any security been added since they bought it? So don't rely on the factory fitted immobilizer, alarm or GPS tracking, because they know exactly where it is. Sometimes they even leave it out somewhere and see if the owner comes and finds it, or they drive it straight into a metal container and blocks all the signals. So these are professional operations. What's this one? Truck's been stolen. So they're not just stealing cars, they're stealing commercial vehicles. I saw a articulated truck stolen. It's incredible. They took a massive truck. Someone's found an A3 dumped somewhere with no plates. We've got a BMW X4, so SUVs, they're quite attractive to thieves as well. House has been broken into and they've had 2 cars stolen. So these thieves aren't working by themselves. They normally come in a gang of 2 or 4, possibly armed with machetes as well, as we've seen on a previous Facebook video. So it doesn't matter if you've got 2 or 3 cars, they've got enough drivers to take them away. There's no point it's blocking them in as well with a rubbish car, because I've seen them break into the rubbish car, lift up the handbrake and just push the rubbish car out while they steal the nice ones. Vans are stolen as well, so if you've got a nice van like this one, you can see this one's not a standard van. They put decals on it, they put alloy wheels on it, it's always clean and polished. You see these vans a lot. They're probably like a plumber or something, and people are nicking these. We've got another burglary yesterday here. BMW X1, so they broke into the house to steal the keys. So they're very brazen now. They're breaking into the door. They know people are asleep or they're too scared to fight back, and most people are very naive about crime now. I talked about every take carry on my other videos and how people just on their headphones and they're looking down at their phones as well all the time, and they're not looking where they're going, and they just get stabbed in the back. So it's important for everyone to start waking up. We've been sleepwalking into this, and we don't want anyone that that's going to get hurt because they weren't been told about the rising crime. We're so liberal now. Everyone thinks everyone's a nice person. There are bad people out there, and people aren't going to change no matter how much rehabilitation, how many courses they go on. Some people just won't change. They've got a problem, and you need to be aware of that. So we've seen that one. We've got some sort of convertible Audi stolen off my drive. Another BMW. BMW. We've got some truck. We've got some sort of Ford Transit van. Ford. These Ford Fiestas and Ford Focuses STs, they're very popular. I think they're one of the top makes being stolen at the moment. And here's an interesting one. There's two white cars, a Mercedes and a BMW. This one's a burglary. So they broke into the house. Doesn't say how they got in. But I do know lock snapping is, one of the top ways people get in. From experience on this thread. So we've got an Audi and we've got a VW stolen, so two cars stolen. So let's have a look at here. They've had it retrieved now, so that's good. One of their cars has got retrieved. This the Polo's still missing. Stolen at 2:30 in the morning. So it doesn't say how they were stolen. There's a picture of the front door there. I suspect they went in through the front door or around the back. I think we've got some pictures of the criminals here. 4 men broke into the family home. So let's read this little story. Terrorized our 2 dogs, ransacked our bedroom. So they go up into the bedroom while you're asleep, looking for the car keys. They didn't find the keys. Smashed into the safe. Stole jewellery. Stole the cars eventually. £30,000 to settle the payment of the car. So if you've got a £30,000 car, you've got to think it's not a car. It's basically a wad of cash you're leaving out on the road. And I think people, because they do leasing, they're not aware. They're just paying a monthly payment. They're not aware of the actual value of the car sometimes. But anyway, moving on. So we've got a red BMW stolen at 4:30 in the morning. Let's have a look at the comments. So they snapped the locks on the back door. Yes, that's how it happened. So no point in having CCTV because they just cover their faces up. So what can you do to stop lock snapping? I've said, change your locks, upgrade them. I think the ABS Avocet is one of the best locks. It's very hard to pick as well. I think the locks picking lawyer he's a YouTube channel. He's found them very hard to pick. Someone's actually posted that. Let's have a look at that. So these are about £40. You can buy them for £55 direct from the website. So these things go in your UPVC doors. There's a section with a line. You can tell it's got a donor part. So basically, if they break that off, that renders the lock useless, except from the inside you can still get out, but they cannot get in. They'd have to literally use a crowbar to take the door off the hinges to go through or smash through the window. So these are the best locks at the moment. I think they got a little magnet as well, so the magnet actually activates one of the pins. So if they do manage to pick the lock, and I don't think many criminals are picking locks at the moment, they can't open it without specialist equipment. So that's how you're going to prevent lock snapping. They've got the 3 stars to show their good quality. I think there's some sort of kite mark. That's a kite mark. 3 stars is the best lock you can get at the moment. I suspect about 90% of UK UPVC doors don't meet this standard, and people just break the lock. They basically get a mole grip the lock here, break it off, and it doesn't break obviously at that donor part here, this line here, it breaks at the middle, and that's the weakest point. This whole section comes away, and they can turn the lock that way. So even if your front door or back door's got like these prongs that come out at 5 different points on the door, it's useless because this is the weak point, and it only takes literally 15 seconds to break in. So they talk about gap insurance. So at the end of the day, you can get your insurance to pay out, but it's such a headache, and there's stress as well, because that thieves have come in while you're asleep, and they could have done anything to you. Yeah, so I think we're going to come to the end of this video. I mean, I'm just going through these pictures. You can see the type of vehicles people are stealing, BMWs, Audis, and even the Fiat 500. I've seen quite a few of those because they're quick to shift. Yeah, so do check out this Facebook group if you want to learn how to protect yourself. The only way you're going to learn is to do research. So yeah, don't let yourself become a victim of crime. People are too embroiled in social media and virtual reality, playing games and just talking a load of rubbish on the internet while this is all happening. I mean, this is real. This is not fake news. They're not going to say their car's stolen, put up their number plate and their picture and name. They don't make this stuff up. So this is happening. No agenda with this. I mean, they're just telling people look out for their vehicle. I'll end with this one. This is some random car stolen last September, so they're already still thinking about it in February. So think about all the stress they're going through. They broke into the house. Spare car key had been taken. They're still looking for it today, so don't let this happen to you. If these come along, they see your car in the driveway, they know there's only one place the key's going to be, and that's literally a meter or 2 meters away behind the front door. Alright, hope you enjoyed that one. Take care of yourselves.